apologize for the drop. Oh, gotta make that go away. Again, the meeting is brought to order at 6:31, and thank you for joining us. We're gonna have roll call read by our secretary, Tristy.
Do you want to do the flip real quick?
Oh, yep, because I already forgot. Did we
That's
say
all
we
right.
do that? We have one item on the agenda under the parent ambassador report that's going to be shelved until the May meeting. The question under that's just going to be held off until the May meeting. So we're going to pull that from the calendar. So without further ado, we'll do the roll call.
All right. So I've been trying to get you guys as you're coming in. Heather Plotsky's here. Heather Marshall has let us know that she's not going to. Rosabelle's trying to get in. David's here. Alex is on her way. I think I saw Jill Cooley come in. Yep. Is Kia Edwards in? Not yet. Heather Osborne, I think I saw, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. Allison Smith. Not yet. I'm going to look as you guys come in because I know everybody's having a difficult time logging in. Devin Green, I think I saw, correct?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Chris, I know, is in. Nadine Clark. Not yet. Rebecca Mendoza.
I'm here.
Oh, you are. Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go. Rebecca Mendoza.
We got a waiver.
Yeah.
You can unmute and say yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Kate Whelan. I don't think I saw her yet. Nita, I saw. Jeanette is here. Greg's at the other meeting. Deb is not going to be here, correct? And then we've got Jody and Tiffany on here. Thank you. That's everyone.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. We're going to start them with public input. Public input is an opportunity for members of the public to share comments and concerns with the CAC. In the interest of time, speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, with a total of 15 minutes allotted for all public input. Please respect student and personnel privacy. CAC members and district staff cannot respond to individual concerns in this forum, but will take your contact information for future follow-up. We also every month have on where you guys sign up for the sheets, there's a contact form where you can write in if you're not comfortable having it read out loud or speaking yourself in both English and Spanish on both the agenda site and where you sign up to RSVP to attend, and we can read them out for you. So we did not have any written ones submitted this month. So is there anybody that has a public comment? You can unmute at this point because it is really hard to see everybody. Anybody? Last warning, no comments? Okay. Again, if you would like to at a further time write a public comment, they're always on our website. You can click on the CAC website on the PUSD and send it in, and we will get back to you and get it to the right people at the district for follow-up. We'll move on to the approval of minutes for March. This vote will be for the actual CAC members. Did everybody get a chance to read their minutes from March? And I apologize for them not getting sent out earlier. That was my fault. It's been a very chaotic week. Would we like to make a motion? Someone make a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Who seconded?
Nadine.
Nadine?
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, motion carried.
Perfect. Continuous action item. Remaining in Zoom for the month of May 2022. Can I call for motion to vote? Can I get a call?
I'll make a
I'll call
motion
them.
to continue.
I'll second.
Who's that?
Heather
Heather
you.
Osborne?
O.
All right. All in favor, aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, motion carried. We'll see you in May on Zoom.
Perfect. Okay, moving right on to the district liaison report. Jeanette, is there a regular report before we get to the presentation?
I was just going to introduce that we have two presentations this evening, one from Jody Payne and another from Megan Gross and Nancy Burdette. If that's all right with everybody, I can turn it on over to Jody. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Hi there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I wasn't sure if we were going to arm wrestle Nancy and Megan and I, or how we were going to go about doing it. So I know I'm telling you, my money is on the two of them, not me for sure. So hi, welcome everyone. Let me have just one quick second, and I am going to be sharing my screen here momentarily. I had it set up and then within a lickety split time had it gone. Okay. So here we go. Alrighty. So what I'm going to start with first is a parent ambassador update. And then amongst that topic, I'm also going to share out Deb Williford has a new title within our system. And so I want to share out the job duties that she has assigned to her new title. So first and foremost, I wanted to give everyone an update. We're up to 38 parent ambassadors within our system. We have 3 school sites in the queue, and as soon as we get those 3 school sites, we're there. I know people can appreciate this has taken a little longer than I think what any of us hoped it would be. However, given COVID and some other attributes and factors that none of us foresaw, I feel that we're making some significant progress. Just about 3 weeks ago, actually almost a month ago now, we had an opportunity to have what we called an alternative dispute resolution summit. And I don't believe I shared that out with this group here. That summit actually included parent ambassadors, as well as our special education directors and program specialists. And so there were training opportunities for resolving conflict at the lowest level, where we were all in the group together hearing the same presentation. So that was a first for our system, and it was very well received. It was great. That was also a time we had our parent ambassadors with a panel, and they were sharing out thoughts, concerns about the IEP process, just about being a parent of a student with special needs. And it was, again, very well received by our directors and program specialists. So that's a positive thing there. The other piece we've also shared out is our QR code, where we're requesting inquiries within our system as far as potential parent ambassador support. We are over 60 inquiries thus far. So that's positive that we've got folks that are reaching out, asking for, hey, who do I talk to when, kind of question. So we're moving and shaking there. And I think the other question that continues to exist, and I heard this just most recently today, there's still some misunderstanding, maybe is a good way to say it, between the role that Deb Williford plays as a parent liaison, and then also our parent ambassadors. And so this is where I'll just do a quick screen share, because what I want you to see here, bear with me. Okay, what I want you to see, does everyone see the basic function? And it says here, the special education parent, yes, nods of head. So is this what we're seeing right now?
Yes.
Okay, so Deb's new title is a special education parent engagement liaison. So I know many of the questions have come up with within this group where our folks knew Gina Zianolini, who served in the capacity as parent liaison. The question is Deb's role the same as Gina? And my response to you is nope, actually it's not exactly the same. There are some components and some factors that are, but then there's others, and which is the reason she's operating under a new job title. So that said, this year, just briefly, I'm not going to read it line by line at all, but I just want to highlight some of the key factors here. So Deb and I work very closely together, and this is where we are working to formulate that parent ambassador program. Part of Deb's roles, she serves as an advocate for all families in our system. So one of the biggest differences, Deb is a paid PUSD employee. Parent ambassadors are volunteers. So that's one of the differences right off the bat. She does do some coordination as far as programs, initiatives. You know, today we had a parent ambassador meeting. That's something that Deb and I work together to facilitate and put on. And I know I'm going to make some people dizzy going fast here, but I don't want to take too much time. The big thing that Deb does here under the ability to, she serves as a liaison between our special education department and our parent communities. So something that she does is she certainly escorts parents on observations of classrooms in our system. And that's something that's initiated by the program specialist. So when we have families that are matriculating, perhaps from preschool to kindergarten or from elementary to middle school, a program specialist will ask Deb to help in facilitating an observation of the potential or the program in which the student would be matriculating to. So as of this week, Deb has done 20 observations in the last month. So she's certainly moving and shaking as we get into that springtime there. A couple other things to talk about is that she does continue to be a liaison between both our special education department, but also a liaison with us and our parent ambassadors. So again, the big difference there for everyone is that parent ambassadors are volunteers and Deb is a paid PUSD employee. One of the asks was when we have presentations, when we have our CAC meetings, if we could have Deb do a report out, and that absolutely is something that Deb will be doing moving forward. So a short, sweet, brief little presentation. Hopefully that helps to clarify just a little bit more what the differences are. And I could certainly answer questions if I'm allowed to do so, Heather.
Yeah, no, you can.
What's her new role again? I'm just want to make sure for the notes.
Absolutely.
Parent engagement.
Her new role, special education, parent engagement liaison. So the new word engagement's added in there. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have an acronym for it in no time. All right, other questions out there? All right, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jody.
Is it okay if we interject one more parent liaison report that I didn't mention earlier, Heather?
Yeah.
Heather Schauder would like to share an upcoming opportunity for parent information. So I'm going to ask her to share out really quickly. Heather Schauder, our Director of Elementary.
So we're excited to share that we have another upcoming parent information night. We did send out a save the date just before or actually during spring break. And the topic of the next parent information night, which will be April 28th from 5:30 to 6:30 on Zoom, will be supporting the transition for our students moving from preschool to elementary school. So that'll be a nice opportunity for us to welcome parents to elementary school, talk a bit about what to expect at their upcoming transition meetings that will be happening this spring, and to talk a little bit more about what to expect from TK and kindergarten in the area of special education services. So we'll be sending out another email this week that will have the registration link and a flyer.
What was the time again? I'm sorry.
April 28th, next Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. via Zoom.
Thank you.
And we will record it so it will be available for future reference.
Awesome. Those have been super helpful. People are finding, the ones that you and Tiffany both have been doing great.
All righty. With that, we can turn it over to Megan. Megan, I did go ahead and make you co-host.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let me pull up my screen correctly. And while I'm pulling up my screen, could I have Nancy and Christina introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Brundrett. I'm the lead classified on special assignment for inclusive practices. This is my 4th year in the role-ish. And this year we were thrilled to add 2 more classified on special assignments, and we have Christina Ablasamra in the room. Go for it.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina and this is my 1st year and I am COSA for Inclusive Practices Elementary School, focus on the littles. So happy to be here. Thank you.
So thank you so much for including us in the meeting this evening. Associate Superintendent Mizell, I know he spoke last month about the why behind inclusive practices. And so he asked if we would share about sort of how our team is supporting inclusive practices across the district. So that's what we're going to be sharing this evening with you. So we wanted to start off with some aspects of inclusive practices that we really feel are distinctively Poway Unified School District. And for us and for this work, one of the things that I think has been really instrumental is the fact that Associate Superintendent Mizell, our Superintendent Dr. Phelps, and our incredibly supportive board member, Michelle O'Connor Radcliffe, really heard the call of the Special Education Advisory Committee back in 2017, and this need for building capacity and providing professional learning for all of our staff across the system. And so to do that, they've supported the development of initially both my position as a teacher on special assignment and Nancy's position as a classified on special assignment. So we started together, I think 3 years ago. I think it feels like 4 years, Nancy, but I think it was just 3. Okay. And so we started 3 years ago together. And then as we've expanded our efforts, we've been able to expand our team. And so I think that's something that's really unique to Poway Unified, having taught in other school districts in our state. Oftentimes these transitions occur and there's not always a lot of support for boots on the ground in classrooms to be able to support staff and students. So that's something that we're really proud of. In this picture, you'll see Christina on the left. She's our classified on special assignment for elementary school spaces. Alex Hatch is our classified on special assignment for our middle schools. And she unfortunately was unable to join tonight. And then Nancy or I have the bookends. So we're each gonna kind of share a little bit about what we do as a team. And we're gonna pass it off to Nancy.
Thank you, Megan. So when we first started this, it was really exciting because I was a longtime IA. So having this opportunity to not only work beside Megan Gross, but to really take our beliefs and our philosophies into our campuses was just amazing. At the time, and I'm not even sure still, we didn't know of any other districts or any other systems that were putting classified staff on release. So we felt like it was very, very unique to us. We've had visitors from the California Department of Education, from the governor's office, university partners, and they've all said the same thing. Wow, this is really unique. We've never seen classified be released to do this kind of work. So it was really a kind of a pat on the back to the people that Megan mentioned earlier to say, you know, this was the right choice. This was a good choice, and it's just really benefiting the students across PUSD. Even the Maryland Coalition of Inclusive Education, we've done a podcast with them, and a lot of it centered around, wait a minute, you're an instructional assistant and you're doing this work, right? And so that was just very fulfilling to know that was seen as something unique. As classified on special assignment, both Alex and Christina and myself, we are on campuses supporting strategies for the best student experience we can give. We work in developing inclusive school cultures, which is a big part of the work, providing professional development that is unique and oftentimes the sites will ask for certain things, right? So what one site wants isn't always what the other site wants. So that's been a lot of the work. And then the job embedded coaching, right? Just in time coaching, in the moment, kid watch, working with staff, students, principals, teachers, classified staff across the board. So that's a big part of the work. And we're just so grateful that PUSD has decided to continue this and to build our team. So thank you. So with the closure of the NSH programs, and I'm sure you're all aware of, it was sort of a interesting thing. We had this like spreadsheet, right? And it kind of moved and grew as we realized we were going to close those 4 sites about where those kiddos would be going back to their schools of residence. So when the dust all settled, we had kind of a top 7. These sites, Garden Road, Midland, Morning Creek, Pomerado, Shoal Creek, Sunset Hills, and Valley, ended up kind of being the top elementary sites that were getting the most number of students. And then we also had that additional support at those there. And I think we could probably add a few more to that list. We don't really turn anybody away when they ask for us to come support or kid watch. But Christina and I are taking the lead on the elementary sites. So we kind of divide and conquer these sites, and really happy to be able to be there and help with whatever they need. But a large part of the work is certainly problem solving, right? And getting right in there and being with staff and saying, understand how to do this. How can you help us, right? Again, just for the end goal of our students being as supported and feeling as part of their school as they possibly can. So.
All right, so we are here looking at some pictures of some in the moment training and some kind of planned group training. But first off, I want to say I'm so honored to be part of this group. It's so energizing. The work is so meaningful, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So what I wanted to share is that the work that we do in the elementary school, the goals are similar to in secondary school. The goals that we are trying to build community, the feeling of belonging, provide access and supports, giving tools and training that's needed for the IAs so that they can give the support that is needed with dignity and respect. So how we do this, and you can see a picture to the left, we have a planned kind of a whole group professional development. And we can do this when we work with sites to work with time banking. So a lot of the sites, they have early dismissal days, early release days. So each site is different. Each site has a different day. So it gets a little bit tricky, but we're able to kind of coordinate where IAs are not working over their minutes, but they've saved up some time so that we can meet possibly once a month and we can have some meaningful professional development, whether it's accommodations or social emotional learning, assisting with, this is the number one, assisting with team communication. That's probably the trickiest one, getting your ed specialist to have time to talk to the IAs, to have time to coordinate with the gen ed teachers, and then all of the personalities and getting them all kind of on the same page. So we're able to go in and we're able to offer these coordinated whole group PDs, but on a daily basis, we are in the classrooms, we are embedding the training, we're modeling. A lot of these IAs, they haven't worked in a gen ed classroom. So maybe they need training, they need the tools and how to kind of accommodate on the fly, or how to make sure that they are offering the support with respect. They may just need a little bit of training. They may not have done the same things when they're in the more isolated classes. So we kind of have 2 different styles of professional development that we have been able to work with. But number one is just having a feeling of belonging and modeling the support that's needed. So it's been really wonderful to be able to be on all the different sites, and they are all very different. as Megan and Nancy said, each side is very unique. So.
Thank you, Christina. So our middle schools, this year we've been able to bring on more middle schools in inclusive practices work. And at the middle school and high school level, inclusive practices includes a lot of co-teaching and collaborative instruction with instructional assistants. And so this year, Bernardo Heights and Black Mountain joined inclusive practices work with our model school Twin Peaks. And so they have been our focus and where Alex spends her days supporting our instructional assistants in learning how to not only support students in a general education classroom, as Christina was saying, but also how to utilize different collaborative instructional models to support all students in the classroom, to reduce any stigma that's associated with having an IEP. Anyone who has any middle schoolers or teenagers in their house knows that kids don't want to be different, right? And they don't want to stand out. And so a lot of our work is figuring out how do we build that community in a way that makes sense in an adolescent world. And next year, we're really excited because we will be adding all of our comprehensive middle schools, so Meadowbrook, Mesa Verde, and Oak Valley will all have inclusive practices programs. So those NSH SDC programs will be integrated into the classroom communities and a part of the special education resource program, just like we did last year in elementary schools. And then Design 39 is unique as a K-8 school. And so they're also a school that receives additional support from our team at the secondary level. And so I wanted to showcase here for you, since Alex was unable to join us tonight, that we have this picture of the two of us here because we are often never all in the same place at the same time. And so one of the common myths, urban legends out there is that the four of us sit in an office and just create slide decks. And we don't have an office at the district office. We don't have a cubicle there. We have a storage cubby at one of our middle schools, which was very kind to offer us a space for when we do have the need to develop slide decks. But the four of us are usually spread far across the district and in classrooms. So it's a rare treat to actually get to be supporting in spaces together. In addition to our work, our COSAs work with instructional assistants and really providing that on the ground training and modeling. One of the unique things that I think Nancy and I didn't expect when we started this work 3 years ago is really how vital that COSA role is to also providing some additional support to our classroom teachers and to our site administrators who are also learning about inclusive practices. And so that's been a really added benefit to have somebody who can be on the ground on a regular basis across schools to be able to help problem solve and be proactive with identifying ways that we could improve the system on our own. So one of the things that we are really proud of as a team, and one of the things that has come out of not only CAC from the Special Education Advisory Committee 5 years ago, but from surveys that we've done with our school communities about the need to how do we build our skills in this work. And so professional learning is a key part of our team's responsibilities. And so this year, we've provided 61 different site-based professional learning opportunities. So this includes our focus schools. So at our focus schools that we've identified early in the presentation, Christina, Nancy, Alex, myself, we're working with teachers and administrators to say, oh, you have a late start. What should we present on this month? Or, oh, we'd like to get together with the instructional assistants and do some training on X, Y, and Z. However, we also work with our program specialists and our special education directors, and other school site principals can reach out to us and say, hey, would you have some time on the calendar? Could you come out and speak to our team about inclusive practices or behavior or universal design for learning or how to accommodate for all students? So you'll see here on this chart, that I've included additional schools that we've provided site-based trainings at that are not kind of our focus schools as a team. So we've had 7 elementary schools where we've provided professional learning opportunities along with our 3 middle schools that will be onboarding inclusive practices next year. And so the exciting thing is that in a school district of 39 schools, we've been able to engage in at least 1 professional learning experience with 23 schools just this school year. So that's not counting our COVID Zoom years or our model school time. In addition to our site-based professional learning, we also provide kind of district broader audience professional learning. And so this year we've provided 18 of those learning opportunities. So we've had an opportunity to provide professional learning to our district elementary exploration team. And that's been really exciting work that Nancy and I have been engaged with helping to ensure that all of our students have meaningful access and engagement with exploration. We've had an opportunity to meet with student services assistants. Our folks at our across our K through 12 system who support our students' counseling and social emotional well-being. We've had an opportunity to participate in our district-wide virtual professional learning days. Our team has curated recorded professional learning for instructional assistants because as our elementary parents know, right, we have lots of conference weekdays and lots of little minimum days that pop up where our team isn't always available for in-person training. And so we offer that as a curated tool for teams to use on their own. And then we also support with the development and facilitation of both TLCs, which are teacher professional learning opportunities after school, and CLCs, which are classified staff learning after school. So we're busy and the calendar keeps growing. We have professional learning all day tomorrow with our middle school teams, which is really exciting. We also focus our professional learning on a team. So when we talk about doing school-wide PD, we ask and advocate for entire school teams. So general education teachers, special education teachers, IAs. It's been really exciting at some of our new middle schools like Mesa Verde. They've brought in our custodians and their office staff. Right, because really it's all of us. We have to be all in to build inclusive communities. So I also wanted to kind of point out that distinction because we're really trying to break down silos amongst adults as well as for our students. Our framework for professional development is all built around kind of these 4 practices of kind of best practices, research-based best practices for inclusive schools. So professional learning might focus on culture and community, collaborative practices, instructional design, or social emotional learning and behavior. So it's quite a wide net. And as Nancy mentioned earlier, we really try to tailor that to meet the needs of each individual site and depending on where they're at and where their next step is. This year, our focus has been on mindset and really thinking about how because really what we're asking for is a paradigm shift in education and how we provide special education services to students with disabilities. And that we're not taking away services, but we're providing them in a different way, in a different setting. And we're really shifting mindsets about who belongs in general education. And as a parent of a student with an IEP, I want my kids to belong, and I want them to feel like they belong and not that they're different. So this work is really, it's heart work for all of us on this team, that they have an opportunity to learn, that all of our students have the opportunity to learn alongside their peers at their home schools as much as possible. And that we're really providing support to meet the needs of all students and normalizing disability. This is a normal part of the human condition, and it impacts more of us and more of our families than really I think the general community is aware of. And so how we do that and how we support shifting that mindset work is really collaborating with site teams. So coming in and working with program specialists, working with special education teams and administrators about what does inclusive services schedules look like and how do we get better at that, right? Anyone who's done any scheduling work I imagine in any field, but especially in education, the schedule we design in August looks nothing like the schedule that we have in April, because you learn and you grow and you figure out that the puzzle pieces fit differently now. We highlight and coordinate observations of teachers who are engaged in this work and are really exemplars in Poway so that colleagues can learn from each other. And then really one of the essential things is that model and coaching staff in classrooms and on playgrounds, and just having those ongoing conversations. To really work on the shift and mindset about who belongs in general education, we've partnered with learning support services, so the general education part of the district, to provide professional learning on universal design for learning. And so that's been ongoing work that we've done for the past 3 years. And it's been really exciting to grow that partnership with learning support services. We have 2 teachers on special assignment joining us tomorrow from the Learning Support Services Department to show that like the strategies that we're offering are good for all kids. They're going to be essential for some of our students, but they're really good for everyone. We've created abilities acceptance resources for classroom-based lessons. Christina and Nancy have had the pleasure of doing read alouds in classrooms and facilitating conversations with students. And then also this year especially has been challenging, I think, for all of us in very different ways. And so I think one of the things that we've seen as a role of our team is also to really celebrate and acknowledge people. They're stepping into new work, different work. This has been a really challenging year. And so celebrating their growth and celebrating students' growth, and sometimes helping connect the dots between August and April, because it's easy to forget where we started and where we've come.
So we are, and I'm muted, okay. We are in year 3 of our partnership with Supporting Inclusive Practices, and it's funded by the California Department of Education. So they have been a great resource for us. They've given us grant funding, we have technical assistance, we have PUSD professional learning, and there's free virtual PD, which is really exciting. So similar to what Megan was sharing earlier, we can pass that out to our staff when they want to have something to learn on, and it's asynchronous, so they can do it whenever they want, which is an awesome opportunity. Well, this year, Supporting Inclusive Practices, or SIP, is having their first annual conference, and we're really excited. We applied, our team, myself and Alex and Christina applied to be presenters, and we were chosen to do that, and that is coming up on May 4th and 5th. It was really exciting when we got the brochure. It's like we're the only people in the group that aren't either directors, principals, or district office personnel. So this mighty group of 3 classified employees from Poway Unified is going to rock it, and we're super excited to be included, and we feel like it's such an honor. So there is a link I think Megan's going to drop in the chat. Families are encouraged to attend this. They told us today that they had 1,000 as the cap, and they've well exceeded that, and they're going to make it their cap to be 3,000, and it's free to attend. It's a virtual conference. We would love to have as many people from PUSD there watching. So that's very, very exciting. And we went to our presenters meeting today, and it was really cool. And again, really excited that our board and our superintendent and of course, Mr. Mizell really saw the benefit in having classified be released from their positions to support this work. So really, really, really grateful for that.
In addition to Supporting Inclusive Practices, which is funded by the California Department of Education, we're really excited to announce that we have a partnership from Chapman University with funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that has just begun this spring, called SPACE, Strategic Practices for the Advancement of Inclusive Schooling. And it's a 3-year project where each of our comprehensive middle schools, our 6 middle schools, will receive grant funding stipends to engage in professional learning to further opportunities for students with disabilities to be included in general education. So this is a really exciting opportunity. We are the Initially, this grant project was going to select multiple schools across the state. And when we said we have 6 schools and we want to do this and we would love support, they went all in with Poway Unified. And so that feels exciting. It's great to have that technical assistance, the support from researchers in the field. Our 2 professors who are supporting this project have both worked in Southern California school districts as both teachers and administrators. And so they bring a wealth of knowledge and on the ground experience that I'm hopeful is really going to help us expand our work in middle schools. The other thing is, as we do continue to learn and improve, this is not a system of perfection, it's a system of getting better. And so we're really excited to be able to add another teacher on special assignment to our team for this next school year. We're excited to have this opportunity today to be here with you, but to continue to learn from our students, families, and staff about what does and doesn't work, and how do we make this better. And then we've had an opportunity this spring, and I know Heather Plasky has had a chance to join us, and Heather Marshall as well, but to do some school visits and to actually see what does inclusive practices look like at each of our sites. We've had 11 schools apply for these tours. And so we were excited about the continued interest and the continued pursuit of excellence and opportunities for our students with disabilities to improve and expand. And so, Heather, I don't know if you wanted to, if I could put you on the spot, if you wanted to share anything about your inclusive practices visits.
Yeah, what I really liked about when I went, and I've gone to 3, I was really impressed by how at every school, because there was some admin and there was some teachers and they were from different schools, how they were going, oh, this would work at this school, or this would work at, because sometimes it was you guys and sometimes it was just staff from different schooling. Oh, we could take this piece and tweak our program, or oh, this is really cool here, but that would never work at our program, but how could we do something like it at our school? And I really found that interesting. And one of the schools I went to in particular, and it really struck home with me, was Adobe Bluff, and I'd never been to that school. We live on the other side of the district, and that probably struck me the most out of all the schools we went to, and my kids are all now in secondary, was the setups that they had for the classrooms, was the chairs, and they were all different sizes and everything, and how excited the kids were by having, some were like really low to the ground and they were sitting on like pillows, and some were on the ball chairs. I mean, I've been in rooms where they have those because I have, kids that need the bouncy chairs and some that need like the swivel seats and things, but usually you only see 1 or 2 kids have those. So you always know every single kid in the room had some kind of different chair. It was across the board. And I thought, this is fantastic. And when we walked outside of the room, the principal said that teacher had applied for a grant to get those seats. Like they had bar stool tables. Some kids could stand up if they wanted. And then she said, yep, the next day they might want to sit. There was regular chairs, or there was ball chairs, or they could sit like, crisscross applesauce on the pillows. And they regularly rotated around how they were feeling that day. And she said that she applied for a grant. So where do they, is there somewhere that you guys have those grants, or are they sharing the like information across the district? Because that was the one thing I kept walking away with. I have heard other teachers when we went to the other sites go, oh yeah, so-and-so in this room, they got a grant for doing this, or this school got a grant for doing that, for like books or different things. Do you guys are sharing that information?
So the flexible seating was part of Tech and Innovation's work. And so I think our district tech and innovation department provided some resources. Teachers have done donors choose projects Some foundations, school PTO foundations have supported flexible seating. And some of our teachers are really crafty on the Buy Nothing Facebook groups and find materials that way. But the flexible seating actually comes out of the Tech and Innovation department. So it's a very cool tool for all of our students.
Yeah, I W buff, you could tell that was definitely all like OT kind of stuff, but we did go to one of the, I think it was Mount Carmel, that, yeah, that looked like definitely somebody had gone thrift shopping and had bought in like all different kinds of furniture from some, like, you know, swap meets and garage sales, and the kids love that just as much for older kids. So I could see that. So I just wondered, but yeah, it was definitely neat to see how everybody was intermingling of, you know, taking down notes of how this would work here and there. So that was neat. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and for taking the time to do the tours.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know if we have time for any questions and answers, but I wanted to put that out there for a couple of minutes if we have any questions.
We have a couple minutes.
Hi, I do actually have a question. So is there some way that parents can, I guess, not have a tour themselves of these inclusive classrooms, but see kind of a model of what they are? Is there like anything like that for parents to be able to see what they are? Because I'll admit, as a parent, I have a little trepidation about it because my guy's pretty young and he's nonverbal at this point. So I am very curious as to what the classes look like.
That's a great question. I feel like, Jody, that's maybe perhaps in the realm within Deb's work of parent tours. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, looking just, there'll be individual requests that would come through. So again, what I would say is even initiating the request through program specialist in Deb, I think that would be the best way to go. Yeah, I think that's certainly an opportunity for consideration.
Great, thank you so much.
I'll put Deb's contact information and my contact information in the chat as well.
Anybody else have anything? Thank you so much. That was great, you guys. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate the follow-up from the whole circle of the process. So it was very appreciated.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes.
We're going to log off because we have to get ready for 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for middle school teams. But thank you for the opportunity, and don't hesitate to let us know if you all have any questions or feedback.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay. So we rotated, so we've already done Jody's report. So that's going to take us to the Board of Education liaison report. And this month we have the honor of having Michelle O'Connor Radcliffe with us today.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry they left because I had a couple things that I wanted to mention for sure. I loved the closed captioning on Megan's portion of the presentation, and I've got to learn how to do that from her. That's amazing. Really always has her eye on how to create better accessibility, and I love that. And I heard Christina say something about how difficult it has been with all of the different late start days for schools to get our instructional assistants together for training. That they really have to schedule one across another, and I wanted to ask her if she thinks that the common late start days that are going to be happening starting next year are going to assist that. And I can't see how they wouldn't, but I'd love to hear from somebody who's doing it. But I guess I'll catch them later. But I did want to make a comment on that. I loved their presentation. I'm glad we're working and moving forward here. The idea of changing mindsets, showing that everyone belongs in education, because we have yet as a district to focus our attention on students with the highest support needs. Critical skills and autism for sure are still standalone SDCs. So I look forward to seeing how schools change. I love seeing that my kids' school is finally on that list too, that'll be getting some support next year. I wanted to talk for a few minutes about disciplinary practices. I've been concerned for a while about discipline of students with IEPs, especially ones that are coming to the board as potential expulsions. Our district suspends and expels a highly disproportionate number of students with IEPs. This is not just a PUSD program, so I don't want anybody to come away thinking that we're messing this up, but I believe we can do something about it. I've been asking a lot of questions about this and wondering if we need to create some kind of a checklist, and maybe it already exists by now because I have talked about it at board meetings and closed session 3 months in a row. So maybe it's already in the works or already is here by now. But a checklist, I was thinking, for school administrators to go through when they're considering a disciplinary action for a student with a documented disability. It certainly would include the need to call an immediate IEP meeting to talk about whatever the behavior was that caused the discipline need. Maybe creating a behavior intervention plan, considering an ERMS assessment. I'm sorry that that presentation or that question isn't being answered tonight, because I have a lot of questions about that as well. I was looking forward to hearing that. So I'm hoping I'll be able to make it to next month's meeting so I can hear that. And also a consideration maybe just for the higher support in a more restrictive placement, perhaps. Those are things that I think, there are a lot of things that could go on that checklist, I'm certain, but I think that without it, we're asking our school administrators to have a lot of specialized special education knowledge just at their fingertips, on the top of their heads, and we should be helping them more. So I think that idea of a checklist kind of establishes a system. And I always think that once we establish a system that we can normalize across the entire district, we're going to be doing better. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. There are steps to take. It's not going to come out the same way every time, but at least we can have some more confidence. At least I can have more confidence in the outcomes of manifestation determination meetings that have to occur before, the major disciplinary steps. So I'm pushing on that. I've been asking questions. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, and hopefully that'll be coming soon. Just want you to know I have an eye on a lot of these things, and I'm asking a lot of questions in board meetings. A lot of the disciplinary, well, all of our disciplinary pieces happen in our closed sessions, so not open to the public, but I do think it's important for you all to know what we're talking about, how we're engaging over the issues. Just a couple more things I want to mention. I want to congratulate the CAC here for your community engagement committee work in particular. I know that your input on all of these school plans for student achievement was very new this year, first time, but I believe it was incredibly important and valuable. Our kids now represent over 14% of our total PUSD student population. That's a huge number. I think Megan made a comment that not many people realize. 14% is a lot of kids, over 4,000. So it's time for all our school sites to create goals for improving the experience of our students with disabilities. So I'm really, really proud and happy that you all have taken up the call to be part of this work. I know year over year, it's gonna get better and you guys will know what you're looking at. It won't be a first time for everybody. So I'm excited to see that input being taken seriously and really changing what school sites realize they have to put in. And I got pretty excited a few weeks back when I saw on Twitter that the New York Times has hired their first ever disability editor. This person's job is just to make sure that all stories that touch on disability or interview people with disabilities are handled with care. So inspired by that, at our April board meeting right before break, I asked that the district hire a disability editor on a contract basis just to try it out, but to review our district documents, particularly the LCAP that's coming right up, to make sure that we're using the appropriate care with respect to disability. I know that that document is spearheaded by LSS, our Learning Support Services, not special education, but the cooperation there is getting much better. So I did see Associate Superintendent Carol Osborne take a note, and I got you, Carol. I saw you heard me, and so I look forward to that. Language matters. I know we can do better. I think this could help. And I guess I want to close off just saying that I've spent a lot of my time on the board these last 7.5 years focused on helping to bring best practices to the district, making sure our systems and our initiatives don't overlook our students with disabilities or their families. Get everybody involved who needs to be there. Too often, I think our group is the group that's not there. They're absent. And I think all of you are helping to make sure that's not true anymore. We have some great district employees who are allies and innovators in this work. I think we heard from 3 of them just a few minutes ago, and there are others in this room. Please know that as long as I'm on the school board, I'll be working to ensure that our kids are never an afterthought. And I just want to invite all of you, anytime you have a question, anything, contact me. I'm not hard to find. So thank you all.
Let me try that again, unmuted. Thanks so much, Michelle. Yes, I definitely, I stick around for the board report. I was very excited to hear your notation. That was the first thing I texted to Rosebell the next day. Did you hear Michelle's comment? She's about the LCAP. She was sending out to have that sent. So we definitely are hearing it from you. So we definitely appreciate your support, and we're hoping that that goes through as well. So because we know we're the readers, and Rosabelle is the chair of that committee, and her team is going to be eyes on that as well, the community engagement committee on the LCAP instead of just the executive team this month. So when we get that from Jeanette, so it's not just going to be the 3 or 4 of us that read it this time, it'll be a larger group. So
I'm happy to hear that. And I know it'll keep growing as this becomes more normalized every single year. I'm so happy you guys have taken up the call.
Yeah, I'm not sure if LSS will be as happy, but because they're never fond of our notes, but I'm sure there'll be more of them.
But you know what? I will tell you that behind the scenes, I've had conversations with Mercedes Hubschmidt, and she's asking really good questions. She wants to learn more. So I will give her credit for that. She wants to learn, and it might add additional work, but she wants to know, why is this important? Where are we going with this? So I'm excited about it. I think we have positive feelings on LSS's side, even with the additional work. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Awesome. We're just waiting for the go from Jeanette for it. So thank you so much. Okay, so that brings me to the chair and co-chair report. Heather Marshall, as everybody's aware, isn't here today. I have 2 things to bring up. It is Autism Advocacy or Awareness Month. I choose to, everybody's aware of autism. It's been around since, as a diagnosis since 1943. And it's been, so everybody's aware of it. I prefer to call it Advocacy Month. But these 2 actually, I have 2 quotes to read. They pretty much fit every single parent or teacher or worker or anybody that's an ally to special education that's here tonight. It just is, they're listed under autism. So I wanted to read these 2 quick quotes that I found. This one lists, it says mom, but it definitely refers to a dad just as much. Autism moms are sunshine mixed with a little bit of hurricane. My husband would definitely say that. And I know, I thought I saw my program specialists in here. Actually, I see one right now. Heather Schroeder is no longer my specialist, and Alex is somewhere around. And then they would agree with this statement. I am that mom. I'm the mom that will speak up before, during and after my IEP meetings. I'm the one who will demand that the IEP be followed. The one who questions everything. I'm the one who loses sleep over the needs not met. The one who cries over the skills lost. The one who gives a voice to her child when they have none. The one who has experienced highs she'd never dreamed of. The losses that she wishes on no one. The one who sometimes dreads adulthood instead of looking forward to it. The one who will never give up advocating for her child. I am that mom, and I am proud of it. So that is my CAC chair report for the month. And to all of the moms and dads on here, we all know that it's definitely not easy. And we thank everybody that helps with the work and supports us when we need it. And we all know that there's people that are there for us. So I do not have any old business on the chart unless I missed something when I was looking through Christy. There was no new business. So we're going to move on to subcommittee reports, and that brings it to Nita with events.
Yeah, hello everyone. On behalf of Heather Marshall, she asked for an excuse for absence as a family emergency, and updates for the CAC Excellence Awards. This is the message from Heather Marshall. We had an overwhelming of 309 nominations this year. The CAC Events Committee team has gone through all the nominations and have narrowed it down and should have all the awardees chosen very soon. The location for our 2022 CAC Excellence Awards has been determined. We will go to 6 different school sites like we did last year for our 6 awardees from pre-K through high school and other categories. The set date is May 18th. And most of all, big thanks to Nadine Clark for being so kind to donate some items to our baskets. If anyone has any other wish or to donate, please send the message to CAC email pusdcac. I'll put that in the chat also at gmail.com. And thank you. That's it for the events committee.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah. There was no other down to governance and bylaws. So leg day is coming up, as I mentioned last month on May the 4th. I did not receive anybody that wanted to volunteer or that was able to volunteer for the day off to participate in that. So I will be going, or it's going to be virtual. So I will virtually be going with Jeanette Anderson, unless there is someone, but I didn't receive anybody asking to go with it. So Jeanette and I will be doing that, and she is busy working on getting the meetings set up with our representatives, and we're working on the causes. And Rosabelle, I did get your message on the bill that you asked about. So that's on the list. So that's my governance report. Unless I'm missing somebody.
Heather, what's the date of that again?
It is May the 4th.
Thank you. May the 4th.
Like Star Wars Day.
Yep.
Yes, because the last time I went, there was stormed in person. There was actually Lucas Films was trying to get something done, and stormtroopers and Darth Vader were actually in the Capitol building the same day, just marching around in costumes.
Pretty cool.
For Disney. So, but there we go. So on to, oh, someone posted something. Hold on. Oh, okay, perfect. I see that. The wellness committee is next, and Jill, you're up.
Okay, thanks. So our wellness committee had been brainstorming, trying to get parents together and do a picnic or some type of make and take or take away information. And it started to feel like it was overlapping with the events committee. And so we had a whole list of things we had been brainstorming in terms of needs we felt were specifically relevant for this year with our families. And at the same time, we don't know everything that's going on with families. So I reached out to Heather Plotsky and said, can we just ask families, what is it that families are needing at this point in the year? And my hunch was that I started to have a lot of thoughts about families over the summer because there was this largest study of its kind that ever came out that showed that 1 in 3 children with disabilities experiences violence. And it's the largest study ever of its kind. It was groundbreaking. And I sent it to Jeanette and Greg, and I thought, good people, good parents, it's not bad people who do bad things. That's one thing I teach my children is that people do bad things. And sometimes good people do bad things. And sometimes people don't have the resources to know how to support themselves or their children. I started to think about the years we've been through these last 2 years. And then this year, which was kind of like an attempt to return to normalcy in some ways, and now here we are with the summer, where I wondered, what could we as a wellness committee do to support families and not necessarily have the perfect resource for them, like we wouldn't be able to necessarily recommend the perfect summer camp or program to help with their students. But I was just wondering if we could have a discussion about what are families feeling like they need. And I feel like Tristy and Alex and the rest of my committee also has a wealth of information being on site and really hearing from them as well. Anybody feel like sharing?
Jill, it's
Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, I do commonly hear, what are things that I can do over the summer? Because a lot of the kids might not qualify for ESY, but the parents want some sort of social engagement or opportunities. And so just knowing, what can I do with my kid over the summer? What may or may not have support, or what does that look like? Or sometimes even just like different ways to get their kids involved, even during the school year. I know a lot of the times they don't necessarily know of, some of the wonderful programs, for teams for children that have disabilities. And so, unless parents are really savvy, they might not have that information. So I think if we knew of things and we just kind of put it out there and not necessarily saying, oh, we recommend any of these programs, but just these are programs that we know of, like we can't necessarily say they're great. We can't say they're terrible, but we just at least know that they exist. Because a lot of the times I think parents just don't even know how to go about getting that information and feel overwhelmed by Google searches.
Yeah.
I think what I'm hearing from parents are they're looking for structure. Yes, mostly structure. And we are making gains with teaching our kids how to play again. And I would hate for that to have any kind of regression. Our school, we have thankfully a very short summer, so we get to get back in the groove a lot quicker than the other schools. But that's my fear. They have learned how to communicate and how to play nice, and from parents, that's kind of what I'm hearing, that they want to make sure that continues, that they continue to practice, speaking, reciprocity and all, being able to turn take and the skills to negotiate with another peer or those kind of things. So it's mostly play skills.
Can I comment on that?
Yes.
As a parent of a teen, I agree with you. Well, like when the kids are younger, we're always looking for programs where there's structure and that sort of thing. But for me, with an older child who's suddenly become more aware of friends and the need for friends, and any day he misses from school is now a day that he's not with his friends. So over the summer, I'm not really, I mean, he qualifies for ESY, but I'm not terribly interested in doing that because I want to find opportunities for him to mix with neurotypical peers. And he doesn't mind mixing with peers with disabilities, but I'm always looking for opportunities to find programs where they're inclusive, so they understand that he has a disability, but they can accommodate him. And so we've done our, I mean, I've sort of found people through the years that are willing to listen to me and will include him. So we do a lot of performing arts stuff during the summer. And he originally started off not being able to do hardly anything, and now he really loves it, and that's his part-time thing. He's in musicals. So
Is there some sort of resource page that we can create off of our website to include this kind of resources for maybe age group wise, that we can have something for, elementary school kids, middle school, high school, for parents? Like you said, we can put a disclaimer maybe on there that, these are not programs that we're associated with, nor do we know anything about them, but these are just programs that we've heard about. And there's, maybe pages or groups that parents can submit to us to have added. Just like that, like last speaker just said, and things that she's been able to find. But maybe, as someone said before, another parent that maybe is new to the whole thing or maybe even new to the area doesn't have those kinds of resources to find those kinds of programs. But this would be a way for them to find it on our page.
And to answer Devin's question on the in the writing in the comment box, I don't believe we could put it in the handbook because that would definitely look like we're supporting or acknowledging, and that could leave us with a liability issue. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany or Jeanette. That seems like that would open us up to like we're definitely making a recommendation. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so we want to kind of avoid those types of practices. That's not to say that we might not be able to, troubleshoot and think of how to, sorry, my voice is gone.
Yeah, no.
Support things in other ways. But definitely we want to be really careful how we vet any information that goes out on behalf of the CAC or the school district. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, having a conversation here is one thing, but like putting something in our official handbook, that's a different animal.
Definitely.
Could we put a resource page on the website with a disclaimer that we're not endorsing?
That's exactly what I said. I didn't say to put it in the handbook. I said to put it on our website because the handbook, the problem there is anytime you add or take away a resource, you have to update the handbook.
Yeah, no, so, you were someone put it in the chat box. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. That's why I said someone right after you talked, someone put it in the chat box and I was correcting that. I was referring to that comment.
Yeah, and we could definitely talk with Greg Mizell about that, and if things are properly vetted and he's worked with our legal representatives and our senior managers who are more knowledgeable about those sorts of things, that's definitely probably a resource I think we could provide. We would just want to make sure that we go through the proper channels.
I'd like to piggyback on all of this. 10 years ago, I actually reached out to the school district on why we do not get enough of those handouts. It's part, how Peach Jar, I guess it's called, they'll send you like all these activities through the YMCA. So I had a friend with a business and they told her, because she wanted to go ahead and reach out to parents, but they told her she had to be nonprofit. Then you can go through the school district. So there's actually like other things involved other than just getting these handouts. Probably reaching out to the school district and probably starting from there, because that's another, you know, another jar of
doesn't seem-
pickles.
Well, it doesn't seem like the karate flyers I get or the
Right.
soccer team.
Right, those.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
the
the same
ballet
thing. I'm like, those
lesson.
aren't nonprofit.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I'm
That's what
regularly
they
getting
told her,
my
but that
kids
was
want
10
to
years
join.
ago. I'm just saying that was 10 years ago. I don't know what was the
Yeah.
reason why they told her no, she couldn't. But yeah, so things could be different now. But
I just think there's, we definitely need to find out where we can start. But I think that might be a good possibility if we just find out proper channels to start the conversation. Because I'm new to POA, I'm new to a parent with a child with special needs. So having resources, like someone said, I do a Google search and I get 10,000, 20,000 results. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a question. If we were to get information and just again compile and say we are not affiliated, we don't, we are not endorsing anybody. This is if parents are really just asking what is out there, why can't we say here's a flyer of or here's a document that has a list of everything that we know of in our area? Could we as the CAC maybe create that and give it to the parent ambassadors? And so if a parent asks, we can say, hey, why don't you ask so-and-so, the parent ambassador, for that information, and then have them give it to them. I don't understand why we can't just have a list of, these are just the things we know about.
That's a great idea too. Have it go through the parent ambassadors.
Am I able to respond?
Yeah, you sure are. You're
Okay, yeah, parent ambassadors do have a list already that's available, and there's electronic forms of the documentations that they have. So absolutely, I would encourage you to reach out. If you're unsure who to reach out to, I'll put the link in the chat where you can just request assistance from a parent ambassador.
So can that list just go on the parent ambassador website? I was looking for, I was looking for the Spanish version to send out to a parent today of the flyer that we're supposed to give out. And so Deb's actually going to get that to me this week, but I went through the whole site. And it would be great if there was a link there then of those resources for them.
Yeah, and it's something in the parent ambassador meeting today they were speaking more about.
Okay.
And we actually have presenters that are coming to our next parent ambassador meeting to give even more detailed information, but I'll share that with Deb also.
Perfect, thank you.
awesome.
Thank you everyone for your thoughts. In the meantime, something I thought that as a committee, I just had this idea, maybe it was my experience as a parent, but like several people said, when you Google resources, you get overwhelmed, right? So you either click off and you get up and stop, or you dive deeper, right? But then it's like, well, how do you dive deeper? And so I became that parent that was like, hey, can we do a trial run? Hey, your camp sounds great, or your program sounds great, but here's what I'm wondering is, could we come and visit? Could we take a field trip? So even things like that, where I was just kind of like, I'm not going to sign up for, I'm kind of going all or nothing, because I know the reality that my child's never had a babysitter other than a family member. And that's a big deal. And a lot of us have been in that circumstance. And that's what I meant when I referenced, this study with violence was also emotional, turmoil. And so when our kids don't have structure, we know a lot of things fall apart. But at the same time, when you haven't had this question about like, I can't just drop my kid off at any horse camp, even if it's really equine therapy and all of that, that's not my reality. I can't just drop my kid off there. Just having a discussion around, and maybe we can collaborate with the parent ambassadors just to normalize that when people have ideas like saying, hey, could we just come for a visit, like to front load my kid about what it looks like, or like to come see a show at the theater or watch something from the last year's production. If it's a teenager, just having those kind of discussions before we, because the vetting of all of that could take a while. And I'm just wondering, what could we do in the meantime?
I wonder if they would provide you social stories, right? Or something to help introduce it.
Yeah.
Oh, social stories are the best.
Well, thanks everyone for your
All right, perfect. So we're good, Jill. If anybody has any other ideas or topics for Jill and her wellness team, give her you can send it to the PUSD CAC at Gmail, and I'll make sure it gets to her. Okay. And it looks like if we have other areas of things that, or topics of things that could get added, you guys can forward them the same way to that link, and we can get them to Miss Jody for her parent ambassadors if we know of groups, if they're not on the list when she forwards it to us. Okay. So it looks like it's that time of the meeting. We're almost done and we're gonna be done on time. Perfect. So the next Board of Education meeting, which is gonna be in person, correct me if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, will be May 10th. And it'll be at 6 o'clock, open to the public. And the next CAC meeting will be May 17th at 6:30 via Zoom. And in closing shout outs, I'd like to say thank you to, and for all your hard work to the events team. I know you guys put in a ton of effort. I know Heather's not here to, but you guys put in a ton of effort reading the 309 of those letters. That was a lot. And everybody that, if you're here, if you submitted one, thank you as well. Those teachers and IAs and staff members that they do go to their files. They all are very appreciative when they get those. But it's a lot of work for the people that are on the events committee. I know several of us that didn't do it this year have been on that committee, so we all know it's a lot of work. So to all of those that are on it this year, thank you for the hard work. And if there's nothing else, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:53, and we'll see you next month.
Heather, Michelle asked if she can share on social media about the nominations.
About how many there were?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You sure can. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for coming.
Thank you. Good night.